It's late at night in Princeton's fine hall. A shadow shuffles down the hallway, purple sneakers squeaking softly against the tile. Chalk smudges on his fingers as he scrawls complex numerology across blackboards. This man is John Nash, a genius whose mind is weaving connections no one else can see, but beneath his brilliance lurks a staggering inner chaos. What if the very thing that made him brilliant almost destroyed him? That mystery defines his story. John Nash wasn't your typical mathematician. His odd habits made him a campus ghost. But beneath his eccentricity was a mind rewriting math's fabric. Nash's daily routine at Princeton was uncanny. In slippers so bright purple they clashed with the staid halls, he tackled esoteric math problems, scribbling what looked like secret code about numbers and patterns. Students whispered about the phantom who seemed more myth than man, blending genius with mystery in every step down fine hall. Game theory flipped how we think about decisions. Imagine a chess game where each move is calculated not just by what you want but what your opponent expects. Nash's insight was this: the best outcome comes from predicting others' choices, a perfect balance in a web of strategy. His equilibrium concept became the invisible hand guiding economics and beyond. Despite game theory's rising fame, Nash's battle with schizophrenia in the 1950s cast doubt on his mind's reliability. When the Nobel Committee considered honoring game theory, Nash's name came up only to be dismissed as the madman. Yet over decades, his remission and groundbreaking work led to a stunning twist. The madman finally got his Nobel in 1994, defying every expectation. Schizophrenia wasn't a footnote in Nash's life, it was a formidable antagonist. Understanding his illness reveals the gritty reality behind the genius myth. Nash's hallucinations weren't Hollywood-style distractions, they mixed numbers, letters, and shadowy figures. He believed federal agents followed him and coded messages hid in newspapers. This wasn't poetic madness, but a relentless mental labyrinth that distorted reality, making daily life a constant battle between logic and fear. Paranoia was Nash's shadow oppressor. It fractured relationships and isolated him. His brilliant mind wrestled with invisible enemies, at times believing people conspired against him in Princeton's hallowed halls. The illness systematically stripped away his social world, yet his mathematical instinct flickered on, a beacon in his fragmented mind. Nash's journey didn't end with a miraculous cure. Instead, he learned to navigate remission, a fragile truce with his schizophrenia. Over decades, he reclaimed his work and life, proving that recovery can mean coexistence. The stark honesty in Sylvia Nasar's biography reminds us that genius and madness aren't dramatized legends, but complex human realities. Decades after the madness and isolation, Nash's groundbreaking math finally commanded respect. The Nobel Prize wasn't just an honor, it was a profound reckoning. By the 1980s, game theory was everywhere, shaping economics, politics, and biology. Nash's equations explained competition and cooperation, turning abstract math into practical tools. His equilibrium concept showed that even in chaos, there are predictable outcomes. The world's thinkers leaned heavily on his work to decode everything from markets to wars. Behind the scenes, awarding Nash was a diplomatic puzzle. The Nobel Committee faced pressure balancing genius and stigma. Rumors even hinted at CIA-style secrecy over Nash's condition when debating the prize. Sylvia Nasar's detailed account reveals a committee wrestling with image, fairness, and justice, like a cloak-and-dagger operation in academia. When Nash finally received the Nobel in 1994, the ceremony transcended math. It was a human triumph over adversity. His quiet grace, decades after his darkest struggles, shows that brilliance isn't just about discovery, it's about survival. Nash's legacy proves some minds are too remarkable to ignore, no matter their storms. Remember that shadowy figure in purple sneakers scribbling equations as if the world depended on it? That was Nash, a man whose mind was a battlefield and a factory of brilliance. His story teaches us this: genius doesn't mean flawless and struggle doesn't mean defeat. Next time you face your own mental chaos or doubt, try this: lean into your curiosity, not your fear. That's how you find your equilibrium. Subscribe for more book summaries like this one.